Okay guys, so today I want to talk about something really cool that I just found out about. Okay, this is about astrology, right? But it's more about the retrograde stations, the planets that are retrograde in your um, astrology chart, in your birth chart, and how it can affect you. Now, see, you always hear these phrases about Mercury retrograde and all these things, and a lot of people, they don't really understand what that means and what it means and how it can affect people, but you hear it constantly. Now, I'm just doing research, and I was looking at, I'm a part of these groups that talk about these things, and a lot of people were kind of like bringing up the point of when they were born, Mercury was in retrograde, so the Mercury retrograde affects them completely the opposite, which I found fascinating because I had never heard that up to a couple of weeks ago. I'd never heard anybody say that phrase, that Mercury retrograde affects them positively because Mercury was in retrograde when they were born. Now, let's just put it out there what Mercury retrograde means, what retrograde means in general, because all planets go retrograde, and Mercury is the one that just goes retrograde the most. But what it is, the orbits of the planets, from our perspective, certain times of the year, they can look like they're spinning backwards, but they're not, because that's physically impossible. But from our perspective, it can seem that way, and those energies will then in turn affect you in a more harsh way, in a negative way within yourself, rather than how you experience the world. But it also can affect how you experience the world. Now what you need to learn is, hold on, let me come over here because I've got to put some things in the oven. But I wanted to tell you guys, okay, I wrote it down about how you can figure out what things you need to be following. Hold on one second. Yeah, but what advice you should follow. Now, each planet, as I was telling you, goes, and tonight we're having TV dinners because that's just what we do. But now Mercury retrograde, it can affect people differently. And a lot of the times it affects, how you communicate and all these things. But see, you have to look at, my advice to everybody is to figure out what planet is retrograde in your birth chart first. Go on to Google and put in your birthday, and then put which planets were retrograde during this day of the year. Simple as that. And it will tell you, it will come up with a whole thing of which planets were retrograde during the time you were born, and then that could give you a better understanding, because beyond Jupiter, okay, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, those three planets go, they're more, they cycle through quickly, they're retrogrades, and they're more often, but Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, those planets are in retrograde for most of the year. So most of us, if not a lot of us, because only 18%, I read this fact online, 18% of people have Mercury in retrograde in their birth chart, which means it will affect you positively rather than negatively. And so just thinking of that number, that's not a lot of people, out of 9, however many billions of people there are on this planet, only 18% of us have that. See, for me, my planets were Jupiter and the North Node that were retrograde. Okay, so I'm going to read you these little, a little bit on each thing, on each planet, and how it will affect you if it's positioned retrograde in your birth chart. Okay, so Mercury when retro at your birth, you will have a very acute thinking process, which means you are going to be like hard into facts and like, you will process information differently than the people around you. A lot of times you might feel like you're just not getting something that everybody else seems to be getting. You could have like a strange or niche sense of humor. Let's see. You try not to doubt yourself, as this can affect, try not to doubt yourself, because this can affect that facet of your personality. People with Mercury retrograde in their chart have a big tendency to doubt themselves and doubt their worth and doubt their abilities to do things. So my advice to you is do not doubt your abilities. You are just as worthy and good as anyone else on this planet to do anything. So don't ever doubt yourself. Venus, if you have Venus, this is all retrograde. You will have deep feelings. You are not for casual relationships or friendships. It's either all or nothing with you. You're very deep. You're a very intrinsic soul. You keep to yourself. You hide a lot of things about yourself. But that's because you are afraid of being vulnerable with the people around you. So you hide a lot about yourself, which is not good. You shouldn't do that. And you settle way less than you deserve. You settle for way less than you deserve. You think that you deserve a lot less than you think that you're worthy of. So my advice to you, if you have Venus in retrograde in your chart, think highly of yourself, because you are worthy and you're worth it. You are worth love just like everybody else. Mars, you have trouble standing up for yourself. You let anger build over time and then you explode instead of letting it freely flow out of you. Enabling you to have, good communication. You can come off as wishy-washy or just like you're not really sure. And you're more unsure. See, the way retrograde affects you is instead of the energy, usually when you have a planet direct, that means that energy is affecting how you push and how you treat the world outside of you. But when a planet is in retrograde, it affects how you see yourself and how you interact with yourself and how you treat yourself compared to others. So you understand? So you can come off as wishy-washy, but that's with yourself. You're so unsure and you just don't, you just have trouble, letting go of that sense of control. Okay, so like I said, past Jupiter, it is a lot more common for people to have these planets in retrograde. So Jupiter, have strange or unusual perspectives, belief system, or set of morals. You prefer to learn from your own mistakes, and you need to learn. People with Jupiter in retrograde would rather learn from their own mistakes and the reactions from those mistakes rather than listening to other people, because we're people of experience. We have to experience it to know that that's how it really is, and we need to learn, because I have Jupiter in retrograde in my system, and I know that this is one of the things that do affect me. I do have strange and unusual perspectives. I have strange belief system, and I also have a strange set of morals that are not like anyone else that I know. There's very few people that I know that have the same belief system and set of morals and things that I do. But we tend to act or think of ourselves as way less deserving, or that we're not good enough for a position, and so we hold ourselves back a lot. We need to learn to let go of that. Hold on one second. Okay. Oh. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to do this a different way so I don't look at myself in the camera, because that is getting on my nerves. Okay, Saturn. Fears. You internalize your fears a lot. You put on a front to seem brave, but you're really vulnerable inside. You have a strong fear of making poor choices and letting people down because of those choices. You You will be uncomfortable with a orderly or too disciplined way of life. So if you get with somebody who needs structure every second of the day, that is eventually going to drive you insane. You will feel overly anxious in situations where you have to be polite, extra polite, or you have to put on a facade of somebody that you aren't. Like when you have to put on your customer service voice, we all know what that is, okay? We put on a front for the public, and it's not who we really are. And those types of situations can make you feel overly anxious. So just know that, it's normal to get anxious in situations where you have to be somebody that you're not. So don't be so hard on yourself. We all need to learn that lesson. Don't be so hard on ourselves, So Uranus is, you will have fear of change or improvements. You will hide your eccentricities. And you will do that for so long to the point where it will become unbearable, and you will just fly off in a fit of rebellion, and then after you're done with that rebellion, you'll go right back to your peaceful way of life. But what I'm saying for people with Uranus in your retrograde, don't be so hard and fast to the rules. Give yourself a little leeway and loosen up a little bit, because the rules and the way of society is going to be the same for whoever knows how long. Give yourself some freedom to be happy and express yourself in any way that you see fit that's not harmful to other people. Neptune, uncomfortable showing any vulnerabilities, compassion, or their spiritual side. Those feelings are there, and they run very, very deep within these people, but they just feel that it's more, it means more, or it's special, it's too special to give away and to let people in on that thing about themselves. So you tend to keep those types of emotions to yourself. You have you're naturally very mistrusting of people because you don't have a deep-seated faith in you. You expect the worst out of a lot of people in a lot of situations, and you fear being let down. And these are all normal feelings. You just can't let them get the best of you. You can't let them rule every action and reaction that you have. We all have to live life the way we see fit, but we need to be happy and let ourselves be free. Don't be so hard to demonize yourself and put yourself down, especially if you're always running to the aid of somebody else. Do that for yourself as well. It's very important. Last but not least, okay, we got Pluto. You fear betrayal, manipulation, or control from others. You fear that in relationships. Yet the reason why you fear it is because that's what you desire deep down, if that makes sense. Just like I've been preaching this in a lot of my videos, a lot of times people will point things out about you that they don't even know that they want. You could say a lot of things as jealousy, but it's not really jealousy, and it's not really envy. It's like they don't even recognize that's one of their desires within themselves. So seeing you have it or attain it, it makes them sick, because it kind of subconsciously throws it in their face, like, you want this. And so instead of letting that desire be known, you cower in that face of things like that. So I just wanted to put this little bit of information out there, because I don't see anybody talking about this when it comes to astrology. And I've been learning about astrology for 20 plus years, and I'm just now learning about this like crazy. But yeah, look up your which planets were retrograde in your birth chart when you were born, and it will explain a lot about how you operate with other people, and then it can give you guidelines to fix those behaviors. So good luck with your endeavors on this journey, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.